can vent, right? Vent out your frustration, vent out your views. It's an opportunity for us to have a national conversation about what we're seeing, how we feel about it, and also what it means for the future and how we believe it's affecting us as a country. I'll be with you until midday as we lead conversations that move us. Coming up on the show, we'll start off with the open line as we always do. It's your national roundtable, and I'll be taking your calls on matters that you want to put on the national agenda. The number to dial this morning, 086 000 2032. That's the number to dial, 086 000 2032. On the WhatsApp voice note line, you can send your voice notes and text messages on 0614 104 107, 0614 104 107. And on X, it's at SFM Radio, the hashtag there, SFM Talking Point. So in the 10 o'clock hour, we're going to be looking at some of the news coming out of the weekend. And in fact, it's one of the big gatherings that is taking place today. The ANC's national roll call, as it were, taking place at FNB Stadium, I understand it is. And President Cyril Ramaphosa over the weekend then calling for his party to deploy skilled and ethical candidates in the 2026 local government elections. And he was speaking at the ANC's NEC meeting. So we'll be reflecting on part of that in terms of where the system has broken down. Because to be honest, and some conversations really require us to be frank about the state of affairs. The issue of capacity and capability of those individuals that are installed at a local government level to represent those people that have gone out to vote for specific parties has been an issue for a long time. Is it an ANC-only problem? Absolutely not. The ANC, being the majority party, has meant that, or at least up until last year, has meant that a lot of communities now are living with the consequences of that incapacity, right? And just the lack of capability to do what is required in as far as the delivery of services. It's been an ongoing problem that it is being identified today as an issue. It's not new. We have been here, and we have been here for a very, very long time. Now, part of the service delivery plan is that it's going to introduce a new framework, a new approach that will hopefully yield different types of results. So we'll get then those who are in governance to come and weigh in on that particular conversation. It will also be, like I said, in light of this big event that is taking place with the roll call of ANC councillors. And, one just really hopes that we are getting to a moment in our country where when we're dealing with problems, we choose outcomes, real, tangible outcomes over the optics of looking like something is being done. Because that's what the country needs. These thousands of people, councillors that will gather today for this roll call, they have constituencies they represent. What is being done in those areas? Because if we're being honest, there shouldn't be a lack of knowledge about how these ward councillors are performing. They have structures that they report to. They have constituencies that that they report to, or that they're supposed to be reporting to anyway. So if anything, everybody that comes to this roll call should have a performance scorecard in front of them, showing them how well or how badly they have done. So we need outcomes over optics. That's what this country needs. That's what the people of this country deserve. Coming up in the final hour of the show, we're then going to be looking at this particular story, which is around student debt and the issue that has come up in the last couple of weeks. You'd remember that the DTI has decided to amend the proposed National Credit Act. And there was a particular piece that was put up for public comment. And this was around higher education and the debt that students incur. So if you were not keeping up with your student loan repayments, the suggestion there was that then you would have to be listed on under the National Credit Act and basically risk becoming blacklisted because of it. So we're going to take a closer look at that particular issue and also look at why this has been such a triggering action, especially in light of the conversation around free higher education. So that's what you can expect coming up on the show over the next 3 hours. It is your open line, 086 000 2032. That's the number to dial, 086 000 2032. On the WhatsApp voice note line, 0614 104 107. We'll take a quick break. I'm back with your calls.
Across South Africa, online and on radio. SAFM, let's talk.
The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga.
Stokvel's become a very big part of many of our communities, and particularly our black communities.
Firstly, to your question, a lot of cultures have the practice. So in West Africa, you've got something called susu, and in Mexico, I visited last year, they've got tanda, and in South Asia, they've got something called committee. But also here in the UK, a lot of your Southeast Asian descendants, what they do is they have umgalelo in the form of helping each other with weddings, funerals, as well as purchasing houses. It does really help with financial exclusion and enables financial inclusion.
Dr. Nobulali Dangazele, who's an award-winning producer and strategy consultant.
The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga, Monday to Friday, 1 to 3 p.m. This Heritage Month, SAFM invites you to journey into the past while shaping the future under the theme, Reimagine Our Heritage Institutions for a New Era. We celebrate the stories, traditions, and voices that define who we are as a nation. From vibrant conversations to thought-provoking debates, SAFM is where heritage meets innovation, connecting generations and keeping our culture alive in a changing world. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us.
And I've been holding hands with you.
Conversations that you connect with and react to. SAFM.
All right, you're listening to The Talking Point. Let's go straight then to the phone lines this morning. I'll start off in Pietermaritzburg. David, good morning.
Thank you. The DA is not the holy cow when it comes to the cadre deployment or the jobs for pearls. You know what happened? I think it's in Stellenbosch municipality, and again the media didn't provide the full background about that colored guy. I think his name is Kanenea, was being accused by the DA of hate speech when he posted, I think it's a video of him saying they have to deal with the employment of white people in that municipality. The background behind that is that the municipality has been apparently appointing white males mostly and ignoring other racial groups, mostly colored, who are qualified. There's a story of a colored lady who was qualified for the position, and she was not appointed, and a white woman was appointed who apparently is a matriculant. So I was not surprised because I know even the TA, if you look at the leadership of the TA, you can't find graduates there. Most of them are either matriculants like the Minister of Public Works and their leader, Stevenson, I think is a standard 9. I think it's now called grade 11. So now what is happening there, you discover that white people who are not qualified are being preferred for jobs, and other racial groups are overlooked. So that was the background here. And so what I'm trying to put across is that you find the DA taking the ANC to court about the data deployment, yet they are doing the same thing, you know. So for me, I'm saying the DA is not the holy cow when it comes. So people should not think that the DA, when they govern the country, it should be different from what is happening currently. We must expect the same, if not more, because what they are doing is what is being done in the private sector, where white people without qualifications are given strategic positions over other racial groups. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, all right, David. I guess that's David's view. Look, the question about whether they will do better or not, that is a question that many voters vote in hope of, right? When somebody's voting for the DA, for the EFF, or whichever party that they're choosing to support, they're doing so out of the hope that this political party will do better than whatever it is that they may have had. And remember, David, what I said, that the problem of capacity and capability at a local government level, it is not only an ANC problem. Look at the municipalities where you have had coalition governments. And some of those coalition governments, right, include other parties. So look at some of the smaller municipalities where things have just fallen apart. Provinces like KZN really provide some great examples for this. So it's not just an ANC problem. But what we need is a true sense that political parties are no longer going to allow their representatives at local government to continue using that space as almost their local terrain, where it's all about the deployment of resources, right? Who gets what? Which tender is going to who? Those are the fights that are happening at local government. Who's benefiting from what? There are cliques that exist, and they exist to support a particular ecosystem, and that ecosystem is often fashioned in line with the political factions, regardless of which political organization we might be talking about. How it plays itself out is very similar. We had Professor Susan Boyson, who was on the show a couple of weeks ago, who was speaking about the research that she's been doing alongside other colleagues at the Mapungubwe Institute, looking specifically at local government. So there are truths there that we cannot run away from. But now is a moment for outcomes. People need results. Don't need more talks. Maybe conferences might help, but certainly what is going to change the needle is when the person who doesn't have water has water, is when the street that is riddled with potholes is fixed. That's what's going to be the game changer here. So we'll have to wait and see what it is that other political parties then do as a response to this. But one can't also get over the sense that obviously we've got an election coming up next year. So how much of this is about that election, or is actual true intent to steer things in a different direction? Durban, not Durban. Prince, you are calling us from Durban. Good morning, Prince.
Hello, how are you?
Good, Prince.
Cathy.
Go for it. Yes.
Yeah, Cathy, my name. I'm just, trying to understand the situation of service delivery when it comes to the informal settlement in this country. Okay, informal settlement, it's the people who are unemployed most, the people with social grants, etc., etc. So now my question is, why is the government still expecting those people to pay for service delivery? I mean, how do you expect them to pay for those service delivery? Because we know that, I mean, they do not have the means. I mean, the government knows this, obviously. So why is it like a mandatory thing that those people, those informal settlements, the poor people, must they must pay for service delivery? Why is that?
Look,
Hello?
yeah, Prince, there is that concept of indigent households, where people are supposed to be signing up on the indigent household registry that exists in all municipalities. But we know that there have been big problems with that, because the number of people and the allocations that have been made from national to cover indigent households, that budget hasn't been exhausted previously, because it looks like in some municipalities there's a deliberate restriction on the number of people that can qualify to be indigent households.
So what? I don't understand. So you mean
So what I'm saying is that at a very basic level, if the people you're talking about in an informal settlement don't have jobs, are relying on social security, these are the kind of people that the indigent household policy is targeted at. But because the demand has been so high, then it does look like there is censoring happening at a local government level, where all those who qualify don't make it onto the list as they ordinarily would have.
You know, the way I understand it, I mean, when it comes to service delivery, demand is inclusive. Obviously, we know that. Everybody needs it. But then, how come then it becomes an exclusive supply? Because, I mean, a non-profit organization is a non-profit organization because it supplies inclusively. I mean, it deals with the needs. So then, when it becomes now the supply is exclusive, only that can happen with a private company. I mean, a private company supplies exclusively because it's profit-based. So now, a government now is supplying exclusively on a demand that is inclusive. So, I mean, that's the problem.
Yeah,
I mean, you can't
David,
expect everyone to pay for something that is needed. Especially, we know our country is profit. It's a third world. I mean, it's full of people who are in need, trying to survive. You understand?
Look,
and then how do
David,
we expect those people to afford things that must belongs to them? This is delivery.
Look, that notwithstanding, right? Because there are very legitimate concerns about the rate at which service delivery has been taking place and the backlog in as far as formalizing informal settlements in this country is concerned. That's one aspect. We put that aside. The front page of the Sowetan today is running with a story about how there have been 1,000 new informal settlements in metros in Gauteng, the 3 metros in Gauteng collectively. And that is a conversation that we need to speak honestly about, because people are also either taking up land stands illegally, they're buying some of these stands knowing that this land is not land that has been zoned for development by the government. And those are decisions that people are making. And in some instances, it's trying to force the government's hand to bring services into areas. So I do think, though, that we have to be fair in this conversation. Yes, the government must provide basic services to areas that need it, including informal settlements. But what do we do with the crisis that we have today? 1,000 informal settlements that need to be serviced in Gauteng alone. Yes, we know what is driving people to Gauteng, the urban centers, right? We know that it's largely, these are economic decisions. But practically, how should the government respond to that? Should they be providing services to each and every informal settlement that sprouts up? Sometimes they're in dangerous areas that shouldn't have people living in them. These are some of the real challenges that we also have to think about, Prince.
Yes, yes, but it's all the government's job, Go people taking occupying land. The government must intervene and then help those people, because people will only occupy land by force when they need to, in terms of shelter, and then we can't blame those people as a government. You just need to help them and make sure that it happens in a orderly manner in terms of all the things that are needed there.
Okay.
You can't just then avoid that and stop that and then say it's their own problems. No. Everyone, Lana, every citizen of this country, government, you make sure that those people are being taken care of in terms of the basic service delivery in this country. It's a must.
All right, Prince, let's leave it there. We'll take the latest news headlines. I'm back with more of your calls after this.
Good morning, I'm Anne Musa. In the headlines, Johannesburg Mayor Dada Morero says they are working around the clock to address widespread pipe leaks and illegal water connections in Johannesburg as part of urgent interventions to improve water supply in severely affected communities. ANC Secretary-General Fikile Mbalula says the implementation of the Service Delivery Action Plan will be reviewed on a quarterly basis. The plan was adopted at the special ANC-NEC meeting at the weekend. And Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva has written an article in the New York Times accusing the US of interfering in his country's internal affairs. I'll have details on these and other stories at 10.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable for you. Whether it's a civil, criminal, or labor-related matter, we have a nationwide panel of attorneys standing by to assist you. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195 and we'll call you back. Clientele General is a licensed non-life insurer and an authorized FSP. Standard rates and terms and conditions apply.
Power, land, loyalty, blood. In the heart of Montana, the fight for the Dutton Ranch is far from over. Betrayals cut deep, enemies close in, and every choice could be their last. Yellowstone, Season 4, where family is everything and nothing is off limits. Every Tuesday, starting September 2nd at 7 p.m, only on S3. S3, open up. S3.
The SABC is proud to partner with Africa's biggest marketing conference, the Nedbank IMC. One day, 25 top speakers, including key global keynotes. The theme this year is Marketing is Business, and anyone in the business of communication should be there. The conference is taking place on the 18th September in person in Johannesburg or online. Book now at www.imcconference.com. Marketing is Business.
The Talking Point with Cathy Mohlahlana. Weekdays, 9 a.m. till midday.
Good morning, Cathy. It's Mr. Suleiman. Cathy, our councillors have become dictators and delegators because they go looking for the Red Cross. And in so doing, they encourage people to do wrong things. Like if your right is to have electricity, if you cannot take it by force, hence nyoga nyogas. And then there's big nyaga nyagas. People are causing anarchy. Why? Because councillors are incompetent and they do not know how to be leaders.
Hi, Kathy. Uh, before I delve into my point, I just want to let you know that I just want to congratulate Pirates for winning airtime and data on Saturday. Yeah. And then about the politicians, yeah, ANC is not alone that is doing corruption and whatever. Yes, though majority of them are the ones who are corrupt. Sit with the mayors and the councillors maybe weekends. Then that's where you'll hear that these people they don't care about anyone and anything. All what they want is to fill up their pockets. Really. But what shall we say? Next year, that's where they go. That's where we're gonna make them feel pain. Yeah. Thank you very much. This is Taru from Tipros.
Good morning. I just want to weigh in on this thing of branding e-hailing cars. For me, branding the cars is a very terrible or disastrous idea because that will lead to a lot of people being hijacked, being attacked, being robbed, because it's like you are calling these maparas that I'm here, come. So I don't think it's a very good idea. Also, these cars, we use them for private purposes, and then you're driving around with a car that is branded when you are not even doing the e-hailing business. So I think that one they need to reconsider it. Thank you, as in Kabeja.
All right. Yeah. Thanks for those WhatsApp voice notes that you've been sending through on the WhatsApp voice note line. Remember, you can also be part of the conversation. In fact, we are inviting you to be part of the conversation. That number you can use for the voice notes and text messages 0614 104 107. That's 0614 104 107. And on the studio line 086 000 2032. Let me go to Kimberly. Itumeleng, good morning.
Good morning, Cathy, and good morning to the listeners. Cathy, when I was listening to our president talking at that golf tournament in Rustenburg, he was talking tough. What came to my mind is exactly what you started talking about, that it's electioneering time. I'm surprised that only now Mbalula talks about quarterly assessments after 30 years. And I'm also worried about the fact that councillors are not accountable to us, although we, the taxpayers, pay for them. They are accountable to the branches and to the party. And what we have also realized, Cathy, is that the way these people act without urgency when basic services are lacking, like water and so on, they take their cue from their masters. Because even the president and those at the Tuli House, they don't care. They're only surprised when they see people in the streets. That's why you were able to interview a mayor last time who did not know what his plans were. He just talked about bank water system, and you kept asking the guy, how far are you? What are we going to tell the people so that at least they have hope that things are moving? He couldn't say anything. Now, this is, I don't know, it's up to the voters now to decide to get us out of this. We can't always admire people in Nepal. We've got the strength of the vote. Every voter must ask himself now, if I die now, what am I leaving for the children? You know, what legacy are we leaving here for the children? If I die now, why should you stick with the ANC and they are failing? Because they are more about themselves than the people. These black messiahs got us nowhere. We really need to vote right. Last thing I want to say is that if you vote for the ANC, that's a bad decision. But it's even worse when you don't go and vote. That's irresponsibility. You need to go out and vote. Your vote can never be lost. It doesn't matter which party it is, as long as it is not the ANC. 30 years is a long time. Because when you vote wrong, 5 years of your life is gone.
Mm.
Gone. Children will still be crossing rivers to go to schools. How can that happen? How
You know,
on earth can that happen?
but part of what you're raising, Itumeleng, for me at least, it leads me to the conversation around just the political expediency that at a local level, if somebody is seen as a key organizer for party activities, that they have a strong support system in terms of the followers and the members that they are able to bring online. What happens is that there is often the sense that this individual becomes untouchable because of the political weight that they carry. And that is another aspect of our politics that we also have to change. Because just because you matter to a political organization for whatever reason, it does not mean that you are beyond reproach. It does not mean that that same organization cannot call you out, cannot hold you accountable, just because it's banking on what you're going to deliver at the end of an election cycle.
Selling us out. And you remember the interview you had with Michael Randbeck? I see that some, because of the coming elections, some leaders, ministers, they sound populistic now. Because one of them said the public service is not bloated. And remember what Mike said. You are told. These
Yes, and that is why I'm saying what I'm saying.
They were told to go and canvass for votes. To them, don't tell us about the budget because we got to hear you. We didn't talk about the budget. No, just lastly, I always tell people, Cathy, that there are two statements that are made, and both of them are right, although they sound contradictory. One is that the public service is bloated, and then the unions would come and say, no, but we've got vacancies in the police, in the nurses, but they are talking about people who need to get special training. That is true, there's vacancies there, because all the money has been taken by these people who were volunteering and pushed in and so on. I can tell you in the public service because I was there that you look at me, you look at social development, you can get a ratio of 1 social worker to 12 administrators.
Sure. Yeah, Itumeleng, let's leave it there. The problems are deep, but let's be frank, they are also political. Councillors can sign pledges, they can make commitments, but as long as what is happening behind the scenes, as Itumeleng has rightfully reminded us, if provinces are giving instructions to councillors, to municipal managers, to CFOs of
fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just
it is very much about the
throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Yeah. Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
Most of the councillors, the process, especially within the African National Congress, in a manner that were selected. Remember, it was community-driven program where majority of these councillors were identified at the community level, and we can't even hold them accountable in the ANC branch executive committees. When you speak to them, they will tell you that we were registered under African National Congress, but were elected by the communities, and community don't come back to hold them accountable. Even ourselves, we can't.
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see
intervention in the municipalities
cry yesterday?
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see?
That's why they're not afraid of the protest. I didn't think that it was possible for us to get to a place in our country where you would have residents that are protesting legitimately so over whatever issues they have. And in councils, in municipalities sometimes, people are unbothered by those protests. They don't care. They don't respond. They don't respond to emails. They don't respond to protests. They respond to nothing because they don't feel that they owe anybody an explanation. That's the reality of what South Africans are.
Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday.
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
Even his manager.
Lisiba, I'm going to have to stop you there, unfortunately. I've got a break. I'm back with more calls after this.
Seagulls believe the ideal scenario to triumph is in front of their home crowd.
And Gruder's in. Can he win it for Brighton? Brilliant from Gruder, and he tucks it away!
Meanwhile, Spurs want to tighten the grip with maximum points to remain in the top half of the table.
João Palhinha does! First league start for Spurs, and he scores at the home of Manchester City.
This is the Premier League. Experience Brighton and Hove Albion versus Tottenham Hotspur on Saturday, 20 September at 3:30 p.m. Live on SABC 3 and SABC Plus. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my daily that's my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
There we go. You're listening to the talking point. Yeah, Lisiba, I'm so sorry I had to take the break. But let me move on then to Anonymous in Soweto. Good morning, Anonymous.
Good morning, Cathy.
Yes, ma'am.
Cathy, I was born and bred up in Alexander Township, and I had my children when I was living there. Clinics were not for free, Cathy. We paid even then. You know, my children are in their 60s now, the younger ones in their 50s. We used to pay like 2 and 6 for the whole year, or 5 shillings. I can't remember the exact amount, but it was just between 2 and 6 and 5 shillings.
This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first, let's get to my point feature. So, did you see Cristiano Ronaldo cry yesterday?
This is SAFM. This is SAFM.
Just tell me about how this concert series fits in with what you are trying to do with these young people.
The reality is that private funders do not just thoughtlessly throw their resources around.
It is one thing to get a backtrack like that for a finance guy, hey?
Somebody just WhatsApped me to say that she has a daughter who has hearing loss.
Corruption in South Africa has reached disgraceful levels.
First things first,